People in New Jersey are concerned and demanding information after a wave of mysterious drone sightings. But the government has yet to give any concrete answers. One lawmaker is calling for a state of emergency, while another has an ominous theory about a foreign adversary. Here's CBS's Tom Hansen.
This is over my house right now. What is that?
It's the million-dollar question baffling New Jersey residents looking skyward.
They're just pacing back and forth, going very slow.
Since last month, dozens of drones mysteriously hovering in the skies at night. Near Morris County, the FAA has now ordered 2 temporary flight restrictions prohibiting drones over this military base and Trump National Golf Club after receiving reports of unexplained activity. Today, Homeland Security and state police met with some New Jersey officials, including Mayor Jim Maley.
I truly don't believe they have any idea where the drones are coming from.
Many still have questions, including Congressman Jeff Van Drew, who says individuals with high security clearance have a theory about where the drones come from.
Their concern is that a mothership has left from Iran weeks ago, coinciding about the time somewhere along the area of the United States. It doesn't mean they're right off the coast.
But in a briefing today, Pentagon officials dismissed the claim outright.
We have no evidence that these activities are coming from a foreign entity or the work of an adversary.
In Mendham, New Jersey, Olivia DiMattio's coffee shop is right near the sensitive locations where the drones have been spotted.
How big are these things? You know, are they different sizes?
They are the size of small cars, like almost like a Mini Cooper or a Ford Escape size. So it's not something that a kid is buying off of Amazon and flying around as a prank. Like, it's way, way past that.
All right, guys, so we got to talk about the mysterious drones flying over New Jersey story. Actually, these drones allegedly are flying over other places in the United States as well, too, particularly in places where we have military installations and very sensitive technology and secret technology. They appear to be attracted to our military and some of the things we're working on at these military installations. And the story that is going viral, again, are the sightings over New Jersey, because these sightings are extremely apparent at night, and thousands of people are seeing these drones, these car-sized drones in the sky. Now, some of this stuff has already been explained. Like, for example, some of the videos are just airliners, right? They're just regular planes flying in the sky. But you do have other drones and sightings that are not as easy to explain. And it has created a lot of chaos, confusion, and frustration among politicians because our government has no answers, right? You have these mysterious objects flying around in U.S. airspace, and the U.S. government is refusing to engage with them. Okay, the military, they're not shooting them down. They're not jamming them. Like, they're just not doing anything at all, and then turning around and telling people, we don't know what it is, right? We don't know. Now, again, there are some theories, some explanations that have been put out there about what these things could be and where they're from. However, again, there seems to be a whole lot of contradictions between what people are saying to the public. Like, for example, you had Congressman Jeff Van Drew go on Fox News and claim that these were sophisticated drones from Iran. Take a look.
Well, here's the real deal, Harris. You know, I'm also on the Transportation Committee, on the Aviation Subcommittee, and I've gotten to know people. And from very high sources, very qualified sources, very responsible sources, I'm going to tell you the real deal. Iran launched a mothership probably about a month ago that contains these drones. That mothership is off, I'm going to tell you the deal. It's off the east coast of the United States of America. They've launched drones, is everything that we can see or hear. And again, these are from high sources. I don't say this lightly. Now, you know, we know there was a probability it could have been our own government. We know it's not our own government because they would have let us know. It could have been some really glorified hobbyist or hobbyists that were doing something unbelievable. They don't have the technology. But let's pretend that's possible. The third possibility was somebody, an adversarial country, doing this. Know that Iran made a deal with China to purchase drones, motherships, and technology in order to go forward. The sources I have are good. They can't reveal who they are because they are speaking to me in confidentiality.
Yeah, so that's just laughable, right? It is laughable on his face what this man said about how, well, if it was U.S. technology, if it was ours, they would tell us, right? If it was ours, they certainly would not tell us, okay? So that's how you kind of know that what this dude is saying is kind of some BS. I also don't really buy into the, these are Iranian drones thing for various reasons, okay? And I'm going to tell you guys exactly why I don't really buy into that. But a lot of people basically have dismissed what this guy has said, right? Even though he tried to come at it from an honest perspective, I'm just telling you guys what people with high levels of security clearance have told me. I think if he actually knew, and if he was told by people that he claims told him about it, he wouldn't be telling the people, right? He would be telling the public. He may have been told to go out there and mislead the public, because it most certainly is misleading to say that the U.S. government knew if they were ours, they would tell us, okay? We all know that's not the case. So with that being said, the Pentagon, they have been confronted about this, and the Pentagon says that, hey, it's not ours. We also don't think it's Iran's, and we also don't think it's a foreign adversaries either. We don't know where they come from.
Jen.
Sabrina, can you tell me what the Pentagon is doing to address this issue of drone sightings over New Jersey? It's near sensitive installations. The FBI is involved. What is the Pentagon doing?
Sure. So at this time, aware of those drone sightings that have been reported, at this time we have no evidence that these activities are coming from a foreign entity or the work of an adversary. We're going to continue to monitor what is happening, but at no point were our installations threatened when this activity was occurring.
Can you rule out that these are American drones or U.S. military drones?
These are not U.S. military drones. Again, this is being investigated by local law enforcement. What our initial assessment here is that these are not drones or activities coming from a foreign entity or adversary.
Representative Jeff Van Drew, who is a Republican from New Jersey, was just on the air saying that Iran launched a mothership probably about a month ago that contains these drones, and that mothership is off the coast of the east coast of the United States. Is there any truth to that?
There is not any truth to that. There is no Iranian ship off the coast of the United States, and there's no so-called mothership.
Yeah, so one of the reasons why I think that the Iranian explanation is kind of BS is because of the fact that reportedly these drones are displaying characteristics and technology that is far more advanced than what I think that Iran could actually get access to, okay? But I don't think they have the capabilities that these drones have, right? Like, for example, people are saying that these drones are disabling other drones that go up into the sky to try to check out those drones, because these drones aren't flying that high, okay? And when people send up drones to try to check it out, those drones are disabled, like the batteries fail, okay? And the drones fall back down to earth. People also reporting that the drones are disabling cameras that point at them. Okay, so if you try to record them for too long, they will disable the camera. There's also reports about that. The governor himself came out and said that, yeah, when you look at these drones, they disappear. And there are other reports that indicate that these things have sophisticated aerial capabilities, right? They move in ways that are not consistent with any known technology that we have. Like, for example, when it comes to speed, the fact that they move back and forth throughout the sky, they stay up there a really long time considering how they are car-sized, and they're up there for hours at a time, which will require a ton of energy for a drone that size to be in the sky that long and to move the way that these things are moving at the speed in which they're moving. Also, on top of that, there are reports that they're coming out of the ocean.
So last night I was on the beach in Island State Park in Ocean County with the sheriff. He has been working it every single night. He's got his own tethered drones chronicling. One of his officers 2 nights ago saw 50 drones come in off the ocean right there. So we thought maybe they'll replicate it. They didn't, but we thought it was a possibility. Last night we had a number of other people there, including a commanding officer from the Coast Guard, who said that one of their 47-foot motor lifeboats was followed by between 12 and 30 of these drones as they went through the water, followed right behind them.
Yeah, so again, clearly these things are displaying technology that is far more advanced than what the public currently knows about in regards to the capabilities of any country on earth, okay, including the United States of America. And the fact is that the Pentagon, the FBI, all our so-called intelligence agencies that have the ability to read your license plate from space, right? For whatever reason, they're saying they don't know, right? They just don't know what they are. They're not really trying to engage with them, but they say, hey, look, they're safe. They're safe. Don't worry. It's not a threat to the public. And the politicians are fed up. People are fed up and they're demanding answers. Like New Jersey Republican Representative Brian Bergen, who's going to go off on the Democrat governor of New Jersey and the Pentagon and the FBI for wasting their time having these meetings just to say that they don't know what's happening.
All right, so you're here today. You were just inside. You walked out. Why?
I walked out because it was worthless. It was the biggest amateur hour presentation I've ever seen about anything, okay? It was ridiculous. There were no answers. Every question that was asked by a member of the state legislature, great questions, no answers, no resolution. They don't know where the drones are coming from. They don't know who's doing it. They don't know why they're doing it, but they say there's no credible threat. It was annoying to be there. I drove 2 hours to be here today, spent an hour in there. I got to drive 2 hours back. The biggest waste of 5 hours in my entire life.
So why do you think they called this meeting?
No idea. Why would you call a meeting to tell people you don't know anything? I have no idea. And then when the legislators would ask questions, there were no answers. Here's the most frustrating part. The colonel of the state police said that he had a helicopter of his flying over above one of these drones, a 6-foot drone or something. I can't remember exactly what he said. And he felt unsafe for his helicopter, so he just let it go. Just let it go. Where'd it go? Who knows? You know, didn't want to follow it because you didn't feel safe. Is that not the most ridiculous thing you've ever heard? I mean, honestly.
Do they have any idea where these drones are originating?
No, they don't. They would. Maybe if they followed that sucker to when it landed, they would know. But they don't. This is a complete lack of effort, in my opinion, on trying to figure this out. This is not about ability. We have the technology. We have the people. We have the training. We have the resources. We have the money. It's just a lack of effort. I mean,
why?
I don't know. They should be saying, you know what they should have done today with productive use of our time if they didn't know anything? Come in there and say, hey, legislators, we don't know anything. But if you get us these 10 things, do these 10 things for us, and the governor calls in this kind of action, we can figure it out. Will you help us? And then we would have helped them. But instead it was just excuse after excuse and we know nothing. It was infuriating, and I got up and I walked out.
You've been in the service, right?
Yeah, I was an attack helicopter pilot, Apache helicopter pilot in the Army, and I helped stand up the initial unmanned aircraft training battalion in the aviation sector of the Army. So I know a little bit about what I'm talking about, and these guys are not doing the job they need to do to figure out what's going on, and that is the Department of Homeland Security, the FBI, and the state police.
And they're saying no threat to Americans.
They're saying no threat, but how the hell do they know? They don't know anything. They don't know what it is. They don't know where it come from. They don't know nothing. When I walked in here today, I was actually pretty calm. I was excited to be here to find out a couple things. I thought they'd be like, hey, listen, it's FedEx trying to figure it out. But instead, I got the most ridiculous amateur hour briefing I've ever sat through.
Yeah, so I think that the American people feel this guy's frustration, right? But I will say that they are not engaging with these objects, or they're not putting in an effort to figure out what these objects are because they already know what they are, right? I mean, I'm just saying, like, clearly the United States government knows, which is why they're not engaging with the object, which is why they're telling us that they don't know, which is why they're all acting dumb, because they know exactly what they are. They just don't want to tell the public what they are. And again, this is interesting because it seems as if these objects want to be seen, right? Because of just how obvious they're kind of putting them out there. And I think that there are some explanations here in regards to what can be going on, and I want to talk about it. But I want to react to this video from News Nation first, so they can get a little bit more details about what other members of Congress are saying about this.
How do you explain how you keep hearing that there are divisions of government that are involved in different types of undertakings, but they can't come clean, even with members of Congress, even with a special subcommittee, about what is in the air over New Jersey and elsewhere?
Look, it's unacceptable, and for them to undermine Representative Andrews' credibility in saying that he's talking to people that he does believe that these are drones from other nefarious foreign actors. I mean, it just goes to show, A, obviously they're checked out before the holidays and they know that they're leaving office, and so I believe that they're not really interested in finding out what's happening. And it's the unfortunate truth of what happens in Washington, especially when there's a new incoming administration. But to be clear, you know, what we're seeing right now happening, not just in the drone sphere, but I think on the topic of UAPs, is you're right, there has been a change in technology. And also with the fact that people can now record, you have devices, they can't really hide it anymore. So I think the Pentagon and the government as a whole is looking at how to address this to the American people. But there's no doubt in my mind that Representative Andrew was telling the truth. It's very likely that these are drones from foreign adversary. And if you don't believe that the U.S. government would cover something up, just look at how they responded with the Chinese spy balloon.
Yeah, I think that if it comes from a foreign adversary, I think it's China, right? I don't buy into the Iran thing, okay? Because I don't know. I feel like they tend to put out a lot of propaganda about Iran in order to justify going to war with them. But I think personally, given what these things are allegedly capable of doing, it would have to be some type of advanced Chinese technology. Now, my only issue with that explanation is that I do not want to believe that China has more advanced technology than we do, right? If they are from China, then we should be extremely concerned. And that's also a plausible explanation as to why the U.S. doesn't want to engage with them, doesn't want to shoot them down, doesn't want to really talk about it, right? Because, again, they could be from China. And it is pretty embarrassing to have China flying over our sensitive military installations, and we're not doing anything about it, because that's the whole point of the FAA. That's the whole point of having an Air Force. That's the whole point of having a military, to monitor and control our skies so that our enemies aren't just flying around in our airspace with impunity. So again, if we're allowing China to do this, or some foreign adversary, that is extremely embarrassing. And I think that's why a lot of people are so frustrated by this, because this basically signals that we're a weak country, right? We're a weak country. If China has this type of technology and we're just allowing them to just fly around our airspace, okay, and we don't do anything about it, and we're running around, you know, scrambling to figure out what it is, it shows that, hey, our military is incompetent. We're incompetent. That we are not doing something right, okay, on multiple fronts. So, again, I think that's honestly one of the scariest explanations, that it is from some type of foreign adversary, especially considering the current response that we are witnessing. Because in the ideal world, these things should have never been allowed in U.S. airspace in the first place. They should have been shot down as soon as they crossed into U.S. airspace, so that there would be no threat at all to the public, and the public wouldn't even have known about it, right? But, you know, that's not what's going on here.
No, that's a good point. And look, you know this. You're in Florida. Mellon knows this. Graves knows this. A lot of these drones, like the ones we're showing right now, you see navigation lights on them. You see a red and a green. You know this from boating and down, you know, so they have the same things. Aircraft are the same thing that boats do. They have a red and a green. So it's not like they're from some outer atmosphere. Let me start with you, Mr. Mellon. Do you believe that there are more, and that it's understood and explainable?
I believe there are more. I think it's important for people to understand that this has been going on since at least 2017, which is to say these smaller, brightly lit, drone-like vehicles violating restricted U.S. military airspace in sensitive areas around nuclear power facilities, nuclear weapons storage facilities. A year ago today, roughly, Langley Air Force Base was taken offline by drones. And that continued that was exactly a year ago this month. And that was about a year after there was a similar sort of pattern in the Western United States for several months near some of our ICBM fields. So it's troubling that after all this time, we still haven't captured any of these things. We still haven't brought them down.
Do we know that?
Where they're coming from. We are really in a position of ignorance here, and hopefully this will maybe at long last, after all these prior events and the Chinese balloon, get some people to take a hard look at what do we need to do to get our hands on one of these things so we can get to the bottom of this.
Right. I mean, look, Chris,
And-
you know better than I do, but I don't know that they haven't gotten any of them. I would read it another way, just as somebody who's been in the business of deception detection for 25 years, that, you know, that calmness of them being not concerned about it is usually a function of having information. And Ryan, you and I have talked many times about how many stories you've heard about what they did take down or what they found on the ground, and programs that use a lot of money to use special operators to go and recover these things. But SUV-sized drones, I can't find those on the commercial market. I've been looking for days. How do you explain that part? You think people just get the size wrong, Ryan?
Well, you know, there always is some uncertainty when it comes to judging a moving object in the sky, especially at night and especially as a single source of light. But these things appear to be close enough to the ground where I think I have pretty high confidence in the size predictions that they're estimating, give or take 20%. But, you know, these sizes and these types of behaviors are something that we've seen and we've talked about, Chris, over the years, starting at Virginia Beach, working its way further north into the Langley area, and perhaps now into New Jersey. I don't think we can conclusively say that they're inherently linked necessarily, but with the mixed messages that we're getting between the legislative branch and between the executive branch, it really feels like the Biden administration is gaslighting us on the seriousness of this issue.
Hey, thanks for...
Yeah, I mean, just like they gaslight us on everything, right? So, yeah, I mean, here's what I think. I personally think that the most likely explanation is that they are some form of advanced U.S. technology, and that this is some type of psyop on the public, probably to justify more military spending, okay? Because, you know, there is some speculation about Doge and cutting money back from the Pentagon and whether or not people want to continue to spend money on these wars and stuff like that. So, you know, this could be an operation to create some type of perceived threat that we don't know about, that has this crazy advanced technology, which is ours, right? And they say, listen, we need more money. We need more funding in order to figure out what these things are because they're posing a threat. We can't do anything about it, right? Therefore, this can be used to justify to the public how we should give the Pentagon trillions of more dollars, right? I'm just saying that possibly could be the explanation. I think that's the most likely explanation. And quite honestly, I'm hoping that is the explanation because that would imply that the objects are ours, right? They're ours. They're not some foreign adversary, and they're not otherworldly, right? They're not extraterrestrial, okay? Which is also the other explanation that could be for why is it that these things are displaying technology that we currently don't have as far as we know publicly. That could be it as well too. But I think before that, I would guess that it is the U.S. military and this is some type of psychological operation to justify some type of spending or some type of action or some type of resource allocation to the Pentagon. And the lawmakers need to be convinced that it is justified, and this right here could be used to justify it. So basically, in a nutshell, we already have this advanced technology, is ours. We put it out there. We say we don't know what it is. You know, it could possibly be some type of threat, even though we don't think it's a threat, just to keep the public calm and say, well, we need more money in order to deal with this type of stuff because clearly somebody has technology that we don't know about, right? Even though it's ours. So we need more money to investigate into, you know, figure out what's going on. So that's what I think. But let me know what you guys think. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Most importantly, share a Black conservative perspective. Peace.